I'm George Mariner Mole for the Discovery Orchestra here with Discovery Chat 23, Dynamics. Do you ever feel like getting louder gradually? I remember that when I was a child, as my father got more and more excited because he was upset with something my brother or I may have done, the volume level of his voice got gradually louder and louder until he was really quite loud. While not necessarily fun to experience with an angry person, this getting louder gradually is a wonderful thing to notice and experience in music. Composers, of course, do it on purpose. When we think about the entire dynamic range that is available to us, the relative use of loudness and softness in music presents us with a huge field of expressive possibilities. When we look at the printed music, we see dynamic instructions of all kinds from the composer, the word loud or the word soft. Or we might see very loud or very, very loud or as loud as possible written in the music. We also find indications such as moderately soft or moderately loud. The problem for the performer every time we perform is to answer the question, how loud is loud? How soft is soft? It's really all very relative. And we may have to recalibrate our dynamic range based on the size and acoustical properties of the hall or space in which we're performing. Some of the most dramatic dynamic effects are the sudden changes, for instance, suddenly loud, or perhaps when we're asked by the composer to be suddenly soft. Crescendo, the Italian word for getting louder gradually, is either written out, abbreviated, or shown by this symbol. Composers generally give us some indication of the time frame in which to make the crescendo happen. Why don't you try doing a crescendo with me on one pitch? I think you have the idea. Be aware of crescendos. Feel them in your body as they are happening while you listen. Here's one of my all-time favorite crescendos near the end of the overture to Bedřich Smetana's opera, The Bartered Bride. The music gives me goosebumps. That was for the first performance ever given by the Discovery Orchestra way back in 1988 under our former name, the Philharmonic Orchestra of New Jersey. This next example from another Discovery Orchestra performance is a short portion of the first Romanian Rhapsody by George Enescu. You will find many dynamic effects, suddenly loud, suddenly soft, crescendo, and its opposite effect, decrescendo, or gradually getting softer. Sometimes Enescu changes dynamic direction so quickly, you won't be able to tell whether you're coming or going. And all of this while writing music that tends to show off our first violin section, so ably led by our concertmaster, Peter Winograd. Listen for the many dynamic changes, feel them in your body, and enjoy them.